Welcome.
Welcome to the Everything Podcast. In this episode, we are returning to Neighbours after a long while, because in this episode, I'm recapping the Neighbours episode 9168, which was released on the 6th of January 2025. It is the first episode of 2025, and the first episode that I've recapped in a while. And you might think, why have you chosen with this episode, especially with some of the stuff that I'll talk about? And that's just because I thought it was a fresh start. Like, it's the first time that Neighbours has had a break since it came back on the 18th of September 2023, so I kind of thought it was a nice time, because I could have, the date I decided to kind of go with this model now was the day of the final episode 24, so I could have done that, but I thought it would have been really strange for that episode there to be a long gap. And then, so I will kind of mention, so in the last episode, Leo proposes to Krista. Therese announces that she and Paul are back together, and there is a car collision crash that hits Max, or that involves and is heading towards Max, Sadie and Seb. So without further ado, here is my recap. Oh, I should mention that there will be a trailer for Neighbours, because in tomorrow's episode I'm reviewing the next episode. So without further ado, here is my recap of Neighbours episode 9168. We start off with a previous recap and the title sequence. Max, Sadie and Seb are unconscious. Byron checks on them. Byron rings an ambulance. Aaron recognises Rhett. Holly attempts to calm herself down. Yaz gives Holly a present. Yaz hugs Holly. Aaron checks on Rhett. Rhett informs Aaron of his re-gift. Aaron declines Rhett's offer of meeting up with him. Krista tells Melanie about her and Leo now being engaged. Krista mentions Reese, who was played by Misha Barton for the first couple of months of the reboot. Jane thanks Paul and Therese. Therese and Leo congratulate each other. Jane tells Leo and Krista about the car collision involving Byron, Sadie, Max and Seb. Byron isn't involved really, which is why I didn't mention him previously. Holly apologises. Holly opens up to Yaz. Yaz asks Holly about Heath. Holly mentions Tess, who was also seen very early on in the reboot and is now in prison due to the events of Outback Week. Max wakes up. Max is asked multiple questions. Max is in pain. Max checks on Byron and Sadie. Max asks Byron about the car driver. Yaz asks Holly about the Outback as depicted in Outback Week. Yaz wants Holly to continue. Holly declines. Sadie announces that Andrew is returning tomorrow. Shane calls Max. Krista asks Byron some questions. Sadie and Byron thank Max. Byron and Sadie reconsidered and don't plan on kicking Max out. Paul gives Therese a gift. Paul checks in with Therese. Therese announces her expansion plans for Irene Rising. Therese mentions Piper. Jane checks in with Aaron. Krista and Leo ask a doctor some questions. Krista learns that Seb gave back the money she gave him. Paul and Therese sleep together. Jane checks on Byron and Sadie. Byron thanks Jane. Holly checks on Byron and Sadie. Holly informs Sadie of a present she received from Heath. Yaz rewatches a message from Heath. Aaron apologises. Aaron asks out Reet. Reet accepts. Seb wakes up. Leo and Krista check on Seb. Leo fills in Seb. Krista apologises. Seb apologises. Seb learns of Leo and Krista's engagement. Leo and Krista discuss Seb. Leo reaffirms his support for Krista. Leo and Krista catch Therese and Paul out. Max from Shane, and the episode finishes off with a preview of the next episode. That is my recap of the Neighbours episode 9168. And you know what's coming. Here's the trailer or the 325 trailer for Neighbours in preparation for tomorrow's episode, where I'm previewing Neighbours episode 9169. Here's the 225 trailer for Neighbours.
Coming up on Neighbours, I'm worried about you and Paul. I don't want you to get hurt again.
This little game that you're playing stops right now.
Now you're being paranoid.
No, you are being manipulated. It's just nearly been a year since David died.
You deserve to find happiness again.
You see that? It's already come from the somewhere. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't in serious trouble.
You're making a dating profile. Did you match with someone? What does he look like? He's a lot younger than I am.
Do you really believe this guy's for real?
Because I think I would like to see him again. What are you doing here? Surprise.
I'm willing to keep your secret if you'll do something for me in exchange.
This is Lassiter's best event ever.
Dad? What's happened here? The woman's unpredictable. You never know what kind of gas you're going to get.
What happened to her brother?
He was there. Why is he wanting me now? Did you want him dead? If it was Byron, I wouldn't rest until I figured out what happened. Even if you did things that you never really thought yourself capable of doing, I did what I needed to do.
That was the 225 Neighbours 225 trailer. I should have just gone with that the entire time, but there we go. So yes, reviewing Neighbours episode 9169. So I hope you watch this episode before tomorrow's episode, otherwise it won't really make sense, because it's the thing I recap the most episodes, because it has the most episodes. It has about it has quite a few in comparison. It's definitely in the near 200. So as I've just said, yes, please check this episode before tomorrow, otherwise it won't really make any sense. But back to this episode, let me know what you thought of Neighbours episode 9168. If you watch it, my review, if you didn't, your thoughts on both of those in the comments below, as well with anything else you want me to cover in the channel, such as any previews or recaps. Put those in the comments below as well. Remember, you can also like, comment and subscribe. And that's it for this episode of the podcast. I'll see you in tomorrow's episode. My recap, Neighbours episode 9169. Goodbye.